Hello everyone, this is Power, Chief Foreign Affairs Officer for Exodus. Recently, along with the teaser trailer of their declaration of war against Exodus, Vast Contagion made a Facebook post explaining their justification for war on Exodus. Unfortunately, there's quite a bit of misinformation and misdirection in that post, which has undoubtedly led a number of people to the wrong conclusions. While I'm confident that any reasonable, well-informed person could dismiss the majority of that post as incorrect, I decided to post this video to explain why the claims he made in that post are incorrect, or in some cases, hypocritical. This video will be substantially longer than our declaration of war video, but will hopefully provide some clarity to the otherwise murky waters Vast Contagion has produced in this war. I do, however, encourage people to watch this video in its entirety, as I believe it should help make it entirely clear that Vast has upheld severe double standards when looking at myself, Exodus Command, and Exodus as a whole. My first question is a simple one. What right does Vast, as a clan, have to determine what type of clan Exodus should be? When thinking of this, I can't help but remember a recent exchange I had with Vast Contagion in the community chat. Navcom had recently canceled a friendly 4v4 with Vast, and Vast members felt the need to take it to the community chat to publicly shame Navcom for failing to attend. When I pointed out that this disrespect towards Navcom was unreasonable, Vast Contagion said, and I quote, "You do Exodus, I'll do Vast." He then goes on to make this remark, but that's not really critical to this topic. Instead, I'll again ask a simple question. Why does Vast have the right to determine what type of clan Exodus should be? When I simply pointed out that publicly shaming Navcom for canceling 4v4 was unreasonable, he was quick to say I shouldn't tell Vast how to run his clan, and he then made yet another personal insult. Yet now, only a week after claiming Exodus is a great clan, he proclaims that it's collapsing and that he has the right to tell Exodus leadership what to do. A clear and undeniable double standard. That brings me to my second point. In his Facebook post, Vast demands that I and Corey IV formally resign. First, I have no idea who Corey IV is, since there is no Corey IV in Exodus. I'm going to go out on a limb and assume he means Corey VII, leader of Exodus' Maxima Division. The question is simple. What right does Vast have to decide who leads Exodus? The current high command positions in Exodus were all appointed by Shaky Divine, president of Exodus. Myself and Corey were in Exodus well before Vast Contagion's previous clan, Plague, collapsed, and he joined Exodus as an NCO. Both myself and Corey have a far better understanding of what makes modern Exodus tick. Indeed, the majority of Exodus officer corps is from the I'm here to chew bubblegum and kick ass Exodus that existed on Reach. What Vast Contagion appears to be ignoring is the fact that clans change. That 2016 Exodus on Halo 5 is not going to be the same clan that existed on 2015 Reach, nor does it have any intention of becoming that clan. It would be ridiculous for Exodus to demand that Vast be the same clan as Plague, even though those two clans are only a few months apart, not a full year. It appears that Vast Contagion is fully convinced that Exodus should build a time machine and become a clan it was in 2015. To build off this is a third point. What right does Vast have to lead Exodus in a direction that the president and command of Exodus do not agree with? Exodus command staff is chosen off merit. Those in command have been selected for their continued and faithful service to the clan and to its members. I've personally been in Exodus since February, well before Vast Contagion and many of his Plague members joined. Both Corey and Wagner, member of Exodus's High Command, have personally known Shaky Divine, president of Exodus, and have been in the previous clans before Exodus, dating well back into 2014. Many of the former Exodus members whom Vast Contagion is claiming know the true Exodus joined Exodus well after the majority of High Command, and even our NCO Corps. For him to claim that somehow we don't have the best interest of Exodus in mind is not only factually incorrect, it's insulting and disgusting. A final question. Did Vast Contagion start this war effort before voting with his command? We've had a growing amount of evidence that Vast Contagion has been planning this war and campaigning against Exodus for a number of weeks. He's personally encouraged Exodus members to betray their clan well before the declaration of war is issued. Now, Vast Contagion has claimed on a number of occasions that Exodus Command does not listen to its members, and has even provided a single screenshot supporting his view, mainly a screenshot from Corey, who I believe is speaking with Shaky Joker. I can't be sure of this, however, because given the screenshot, you can't tell who he was speaking to. I do find it interesting that Vast seems so offended by Exodus supposedly ignoring the opinions of its members. After all, as of Tuesday, July 26th, when Nate left Vast to become a diplomat in UGN, Vast Contagion said, and I quote, "He wouldn't be of use to us in Kuwait since we don't have a council. I'm the absolute authority in Vast." This isn't a recent development either. During his interview with Debatable Halo back in March, when speaking about why he left Exodus to recreate Vast, he said the following.
I was interested in leading clans again because I missed the political aspect of things because I was a staff sergeant in Exodus and I couldn't really do too much politically officially, even though I still kind of did. But I missed having that position where I could actually give a final decision on things and not have to put it up to council because I'm heavily in support of dictatorship and like totalitarianism when it comes to the clans. Like it should be led by one leader, in my opinion. Even though Navcom was ran by a council, I would never be able to operate with a with a council. I mean, I was the in Plague, it was a flood-based clan, so I was the Grave Mind, so I pretty much controlled everything, every aspect of the clan, and I guess I was missing that, I suppose.
Yet somehow, between July 26th, when Vast said he was an absolute authority in Vast, and July 29th, when they filmed the Declaration of War video, Vast Contagion had a change of heart. He abandoned his long-held hatred of councils and turned Vast into a republic and held in-depth conversations about whether or not they were justified in declaring war against Vast. Now, I'm not going to say he's lying. I'm just saying that sounds more than slightly suspicious. In all likelihood, I'm willing to say that Vast Command, if they voted at all, were likely provided very little information or input on the matter. I have to assume that many felt that opposing this idea would have made them an outcast by default. Groupthink is a dangerous creature, and I think we've seen it here. But wait, even to guess that Vast somehow turned into a republic between July 26th and July 29th doesn't make sense. There are small problems with even this theory. On July 23rd, Shaky Joker, an individual who's now siding with Vast, said in the Exodus command chat that Vast had already been telling him secrets, a full 3 days before Vast Contagion declared himself the absolute authority in Vast. This means that, regardless of whether or not a vote has ever been taken, Vast Contagion had already been discussing with Exodus members about rebelling from the clan. Vast Contagion, as of July 23rd, had already conducted acts of war against Exodus. Finally, a few minor points. Vast claims that I personally hate raids, and that I make Exodus avoid raids because of this. Now that's partially true. I have stated that I personally despise raids hundreds of times. This does not, however, mean that I force Exodus to avoid raids. The opposite is true. As Chief Foreign Affairs Officer for Exodus, it's my job to find and schedule raids for Exodus. Over the past 2 months, we've scheduled an average of 3 to 5 FPRs per week, roughly equal to what Vast himself has managed. I've written Exodus's ROE for raids, and the ROE which was used during the Vast and Commonwealth War. An ROE that Vast Contagion likes so much, he couldn't help but plagiarize the entire text and then use it for Vast future wars. You'll see on screen now the ROE I wrote for Vast and the MMA war on the right, and the most recent Vast war ROE on the left. Any differences between the two documents is highlighted in either red or green. As you can see, it's practically the same document. So I find it exceptionally odd that Vast Contagion would criticize me for not doing raids, while at the same time using the ROE I wrote as the official wartime ROE for Vast. Even though we're still waiting for the formal declaration of war video from Vast, the war raids between Exodus and Vast have formally begun. On Tuesday, August 2nd, and Wednesday, August 3rd, a total of 3 raids occurred that involved Exodus and Vast personnel. The first raid was a scheduled raid between Exodus and Vast, which started at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, while the second and third raids were both surprise raids starting at roughly midnight and 4 a.m. on August 3rd, respectively. As a result of those raids, there has been some significant level of controversy between Exodus, Forgotten Soldiers, and VAST, specifically regarding the war record. VAST claims the total war record to be either 3-0 or 2-1 against Exodus, depending on who VAST Contagion is speaking to, 1-0 against Forgotten Soldiers, 1-0 against the 99th Regiment, and potentially 1-0 against the Dungeon, as they are formally considered a group or clan by VAST. On the other hand, Exodus and Forgotten Soldiers claim the war record to be Exodus 1, VAST 0, and VAST 1, Forgotten Soldiers 0. To explain the differences in the war record, this video will consider how VAST and Exodus are both considering this war record to be counted. With that in mind, let's get started with the first and perhaps the least controversial raid. On Tuesday, August 2nd, VAST and Exodus agreed upon a 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time raid with Exodus defending. Exodus won this raid, but committed 2 substantial ROE breaches. The first, Exodus ended the game at 3:04:59 instead of 3:05, which would make this game 1 second too short to be considered valid. This would be an automatic forfeit according to the ROE. The map Exodus used had a concealed BR place to spawn, which both parties used. This breach of map ROE design would be considered an automatic forfeit as well. However, immediately following the raid, both parties agreed that the ROE breaches were minor and were inconsequential to the outcome of the raid as a whole. To quote VAST Contagion, leader of VAST, from the kick chat. But at the end of the day, we will give this raid to Exodus, and ultimately hope that they will be understanding in future raids. Good game. We'd hoped to set the record straight. The ROE violations were inconsequential and had no effect on the outcome of the raid. However, soon after that post was made by VAST Contagion, Justice Chaos, a member of VAST Command's staff, immediately contradicts this statement by requesting a fair vote be taken on this issue by VAST Command to determine whether or not this should be declared a raid win. Please note, Justice Chaos is claiming that VAST Command can vote on these matters, a topic which will be more important later on in this video. However, let me remind you that the first official comment given by VAST Command that this raid was to be considered a victory for Exodus. We have no reason to believe that any vote was taken at any later point, although VAST Contagion himself then contests the status of this victory later on. Now on to the first surprise raid. Natal host of the first surprise raid, was neither a member of VAST nor Exodus. He is not a member of any known clan, but instead part of a group of friends who are nothing more than trolls. Some people, including VAST, refer to this group of friends as the Dungeon, which really honestly tell you all you need to know about how seriously they take clans. Natal, as host of this raid, had no obligation to conduct himself in line with common surprise raid conventions. I spoke with Natal in order to determine how suitable of a host he was. It was Exodus' intention that, if he was a neutral party, we would continue the raid. This was his initial stance, although he did make a few jokes about ending the raid early. However, given no evidence he was actively against either Exodus or VAST, we continued the battle. During this intern period, I messaged VAST Contagion notifying him of my concerns regarding this raid, giving Natal's comments. I made it clear that he made remarks about ending the raid early, and although he made those remarks, we would continue the raid as needed. However, roughly an hour later, I was invited to a party by Natal, who proceeded to declare war on Exodus. I found this particularly odd given that the Dungeon isn't a clan, it's a group of friends, so it's effectively Natal by himself declaring war on Exodus. He stated that if Exodus personnel were to capture the base, he would end the game, effectively rendering the raid void. Exodus personnel, from that point on, were ordered to continue attempting to seize the base in order to demonstrate the fact that if we capture the base, he would end the game. We cannot, given the remarks made by Natal, in good faith, view this raid as valid. We had no clear understanding as to why Natal made these remarks if he communicated with VAST during the interim period, but given the clearly unwinnable nature of the raid, we cannot acknowledge it as valid, since it would have been impossible for Exodus to win the raid. Now on to the second surprise raid. Following the beginning of the first surprise raid, Forgotten Soldiers, with the assistance of Exodus and 99th Regiment, started a surprise raid against VAST. FS Benevolent, the leader of Forgotten Soldiers, was the host of this game, and Forgotten Soldiers composed the majority of the defending force. After roughly 4 hours, Forgotten Soldiers, Exodus, and 99th Regiment lost control of the base. VAST members took control, spawn locked the attackers, preventing them from spawning entirely. Since Forgotten Soldiers and Exodus have both independently declared war against Vast and agreed to keep separate war records, it was our understanding that any given raid loss or win would be attributed to the clan that made up the majority of the initial raid force. Given the majority of the initial raid force was Forgotten Soldiers, this raid would be considered a Forgotten Soldiers loss to Vast. Myself, FS Benevolent, and 3 members of Vast Command met in an Xbox party to discuss this issue. I would note that, to my understanding, FS Benevolent and the Vast members in question were actively in the raid during this conversation, making them the respective leaders of the raiding teams. Thus, this meeting would constitute both a diplomatic conversation and a mid-raid negotiation. With consent from all parties present, the following was recorded.
What I like to do as a second raid, what I like to address that this is an FS loss towards Forgotten Soldiers. If even Exodus attempted to claim a raid win towards Exodus, it will not be recognized by FS, and I will talk to Power personally about that matter. This is an FS war win, not a Exodus war win. As me and Power have talked in the past, that if FS or Exodus spearheads a raid, that winning side, the clan that is spearheading the raid, is the winner. Meaning, if let's say FS did a raid against Exodus, not Exodus, Vast tonight or today, or tomorrow, whenever we do an extra raid that is scheduled, and there was an Exodus member in there, and let's say, for example, that FS has won that raid, that will not count towards Exodus war record whatsoever. And if you want, Jesse, I'll even write that in the kick chat, so you have screenshot proof that that's what I said. And if I try to use that, saying, "Oh no, that's a win for both Exodus and FS," or if Power tries to say that, or any of other Exodus or FS members attempt to say that, you have screenshot proof from myself, FS Malevolent, that I said that clearly, that it is the only win for FS or for Exodus. That is what I'm trying to clarify. Is that fine
just
with you?
send that to me in the kick so I can screenshot it. That'd be fine.
This is a really
Of course.
Well,
Jess, do you have do the Vast members in here collectively have the authority to make policy decisions on behalf of Vast, the clan?
Yes, we are a majority of, or we are, well, guess majority of the highest ranking officers in Vast. Yes, we can make a policy decision.
So, Jesse, if you don't mind, can you also send me that? When I send you this, send me what you just said right now, for just in case, for the same reasons, if that's fine with you.
You want me to send you the whichever
What exactly
clan
would
is
you?
spearheading?
No. What you just said to Power. Make sure if you send me that as a kick message, you can like claim that and this and that. You know what I mean?
Well, realistically, I have it recorded. I have it verbally recorded. So
Oh yeah, Power has it recorded. It's fine.
Oh, okay. Alright, so I'm gonna send you a kick chat right now. Forgotten. IFS.
So I'm here with food.
How's your guys' days?
Right? So
It was pretty good.
Days.
Just ate my cereal.
while that conversation should be sufficiently clear, on screen now are screenshots of the kick conversation in question. As you can see, Justice Chaos agrees to the idea that loss or win of a raid may only be contributed to the clan who led the raid, which in this case is Forgotten Soldiers, not Exodus. Also note that he confirms that this was discussed with 2 other members of Vast present in the meeting. The full conversation was nearly an hour long, however, and was edited out for the sake of this video. I'd like to once again remind you that besides claiming diplomatic authority, the 3 members of Vast, as well as the member of Forgotten Soldiers present, were actively in the raid during this meeting, making this a mid-raid negotiation as well. The members of Vast present, according to the Vast roster, are active duty leadership within the clan. 2 of the 3 Vast members present have been in Vast since its founding. These are not people who are new or ignorant to Vast policies and procedures. They are some of the most experienced and senior members within Vast. To claim that this was a mistake and that they misunderstood the procedures and rules of Vast would be a pretty bold claim. Yet later on that day, that's exactly what Vast Contagion did. After messaging him on Hick and notifying him of the agreement between Vast and Forgotten Soldiers, as well as our stance on the first surprise raid, I got the message you currently see on screen as the reply. I was obviously concerned, as I was told by 3 senior Vast members that they had full diplomatic authority. When I reached out to Vast in an Xbox Live party, the following conversation occurred. Fast raids, surprise raids, last night.
Yeah.
I have video confirmation that Justice Chaos Party BG Tap My Glass declared they have diplomatic authority on behalf of Vast and rendered the second surprise raid as a loss towards Forgotten Soldiers, not Exodus. That's a non-contestable statement.
Alright, you can send that to me, but I'm going to... They do not have diplomatic authority.
So
I'm
they
the only
lack
one...
those.
Yes. I am the only one in Vast that currently has the capabilities and permission, let alone, to handle diplomatic authority. They were, as you were, running on very few sleep, and obviously these raids happened at what, like 5 a.m. in the morning.
After some additional conversation, I attempted to clarify if the three members in question ever had diplomatic authority. Vast Contagion effectively claimed that his members have never had actual power in regards to foreign policy, and that whenever they vote on a foreign policy, such as declaring war on Exodus, it's merely a suggestion, and he's not obligated to follow it in any way. Have Party BG and Justice Chaos ever had diplomatic authority or ever had input? Because they're saying they just have a suggestion, right?
No.
So they do have actual authority.
Diplomatic authority, no.
So they just make suggestions on foreign policy.
Yes.
So when Command voted to declare war on Exodus, that was just a vote of opinion.
A suggestion. Opinion, yes. If
Okay.
it was 0 to 10, like let's just say it was 0 to 10, which we don't have 10 people in the command anymore, I could theoretically still declare war. Yes.
Now let me go briefly off topic before continuing here. I'm not going to say whether or not a dictatorship is an effective clan structure. That's not the important part here. I'm concerned about the consistency of the message that Vast is presenting. When the entire basis of this war is that myself and Corey do not listen to the members of Exodus, even though Vast Contagion, from experience alone, knows that we take votes on major decisions within the clan, it seems odd for him to run a clan that, by design, isn't interested in the opinions of its members. I raised concern in my last video, and I'll raise it here again as well. I'm very concerned about how well informed Vast members were about this war, and how much they cared about, quote, saving Exodus and making Exodus great again. I'm concerned that any vote that might have occurred was simply a result of peer pressure and nothing more. For the last clip, I'll draw attention to the fact that Vast Contagion informed Exodus that the record of this war is currently 3-0 to Vast. While I've heard reports that internally it's been declared a 2-1 record, such information has not been conveyed to Exodus at the time of this recording.
So yeah, it will be Vast is 3-0
It would be
in the war. That's what we're going to be counting.
Okay, then
From your perspective, it will be 1-0, but we are going to be counting both surprise raids.
If you're going to claim a 3-0, then we're going to claim...
We're acknowledging both surprise
raids.
raids.
We're going to claim a 1-0 raid record in favor of Exodus.
That's fine.
Okay. That's all for this video. As stated in the beginning, the first day of raids between Vast and Exodus was hectic, and plagued with contradicting reports in both clans. Exodus' stance in the war record has been consistent, and as follows. Exodus 1, Vast 0. Vast 1, Forgotten Soldiers 0. On the other hand, the stance from Vast thus far has been far less clear. Thank you for your time, and on behalf of Exodus Command and Exodus as a whole, this is Power, out.